I was assigned Chapter 12 of the Empowerment series. Would President Obama reverse the cycle of history? I'm going to be hitting some key points. I'm going to be talking about his run for office in 2008, the Great Recession, which is what was preceding before his election. I'm going to hit some policy proposals that he had, foreign policy, and then there's a little summary at the end of everything that I covered. So, running for office. Before Obama was elected, the United States went between cycles of conservative and liberal eras. The US had gone through a really strong conservative era, and there was a surge of Republican presidents from 1969 to 2008, which spanned over 40 years. This gave the Democrats little control over both houses of Congress. Obama's election. So, after a shocking victory against the Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton in the primary election, Obama won the secondary elections. And this was shocking because he was a Black American that preceded a long reign of Republican presidents. This was difficult for Americans as there were a lot of questions like what could a liberal Black American accomplish for the United States? The Great Recession. So, before his presidency, Obama uh, before Obama's presidency, the United States was going through an economic crisis. The stock market crashed in 2001 up until 2007. The crash was not significant, and it wasn't until December of 2007 when the recession had officially started. But it was declared a recession in the spring of 2008. During the recession, there was a housing crisis. So in late 2007, housing prices began to decline, which allowed banks and mortgage lenders to issue mortgages to people that wouldn't have qualified a decade earlier, like blue collar workers or people that weren't making that much money. These people had to make little to no down payments, believing the housing prices would keep increasing and they would be making a profit. Um, then by 2011, the houses had lost an average value of 25%. There was a big unemployment crisis. Unemployment peaked at 10% in 2009, and millions of U.S. citizens lost their jobs. People lost their jobs, leading them not to be able to pay for their mortgages, causing an increase in foreclosures, um, which led to unemployment of realtors, construction workers, and landlords and property managers. During his campaign, Obama had a large amount of policy proposals and promises. One was tax cuts for the middle class, tax relief for senior citizens and hardworking families. And he also proposed healthcare reform, which was his idea of allowing everybody to have healthcare. He also proposed the idea of educational development, making college degrees more accessible and allowing to give grants to those that couldn't afford college. He also implemented a few policies during his term. During his term, he continued TARP, which was implemented by Bush. The Troubled Asset Relief Program, which was a federal spending program that authorized $700 billion to the U.S. Putting money into the economy allows people to spend more money, and spending more money allows people to get more jobs. He also implemented the ACA, which was the Affordable Health Care Act, which gave health care to more people, and the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act to help the economy and lower unemployment rates. He also this is his foreign policy. So before Obama's presidency, the U.S. was involved in the war in Iraq. This was rooted in terrorist attack that happened on September 11, 2001. Obama stated that this war had nothing to do with the government in Iraq and that Al-Qaeda, the terrorist group responsible for 9/11, had no involvement in the government of Iraq. He called for withdrawal of the U.S. troops in Iraq. The war in Afghanistan was also something that the U.S. was going through. So he saw that their government was taken control of by the Taliban, which was a terrorist group. He used military spending for the Afghan war and had a troop surge in which he sent troops to Afghanistan to fight the Taliban. This is a little summary of everything we've learned. So we talked about Obama and how he was elected after a long surge of Republican presidents, considered an underdog but won the elections in hopes that he would improve the economic situation in the states. He, previous to his election, the Great Recession started, and it caused a housing and unemployment crisis. Obama proposed policies that would help with healthcare, unemployment, and federal spending. And he entered presidency during wars, and withdrew from the military from Iraq and sent the troops over to Afghanistan. And that's everything. Thank you, guys.